Hello everyone, thank you for joining me on Archviz Africa. My name is Dixon from AAA Studio. Today I'll be taking you through the process and the workflow I took to create this image in D5 Render. In this tutorial, we will have a look at how to import your model from Revit into D5, how to add your materials, how to add lighting, setting up your render, as well as post-render. This tutorial will be a 3-part series. In the first series, we will have a look at how to import your model, how to add your material, how to add exterior lighting, as well as vegetation. Okay, now we are in Revit. It's important to note the way you apply your texture in Revit. Make sure that you have the end goal in mind, meaning that if you would like to have this texture, the texture of this wooden deck to be different from this, make sure that you don't apply the same texture in Revit as this one, so that when you go to D5, you can select separately the materials. It's very, very important. So let's go to 3D view, and you see this is a very basic model, not really detailed, not really accurate, but that's not the aim. This is just for the purpose of the tutorials. But it's always important when you're working on a model or a visualization to detail it, because it really adds to the look and feel of a project. So when you click on the D5 render button, you have start D5 or export. If you click on export, you can export it as a D5 file. You also have an option to exclude certain components if you don't want any components. But I like to use the start D5 because it allows me to basically sync if I make any changes in Revit. So let me just click on start D5. And immediately you see that you get this dialog box that tells you that D5 render is launched. Please select the following. If you click on OK, it will create a new DRS project. And if you click on select, you can reassociate it with an old D5 project. So we want to start new, so we just click on OK. And here, voila, here is our model in D5. As I said earlier on, this project is not getting started tutorial. So we will not be going through the entire interface. However, if you follow me, you'll be able to understand, and I will explain the tools as I use them. So in Revit, if we go to the pool shot, our 3D view, we've got this view here. This is the preferred view that we want to render. So if you go to D5 and we go to the list button here, if you click on it, you see the camera is here. If I click on the camera, it will set that view for us. Very simple, very nice. Okay, so the first thing that I normally do when it comes to my render is to make sure I set my lighting. My lighting is very important. So let's go to sky, and I go to sky. When I talk about lighting, I'm talking about the exterior lighting or the natural lighting. Okay, so in the natural lighting, I have an option to use the Duo and Sky. So the Duo and Sky basically allows you to change the time of day. Okay, you can change the north offset as well. Okay, it also allows you to change the month, the day, the longitude and the latitude. And also you have an option to add an HDRI. In the HDRI, you have default HDRIs here. Quite nice ones that you can add, different ones. But in the image that we are trying to achieve, I use a custom HDRI that I've already have. I'll share a link below. in terms of where you can get that free HDRI. So let's click on custom HDRI, and then basically we can go into our folder where we save that HDRI. So this is the HDRI that was used, and I just click on that, and then here I've got my HDRI. I can rotate the HDRI to the direction that I want to get the light in. With this image, the image that was created, the rotation was around 50, so we will do that. And also we can tell the sun to follow the direction of the HDRI. So you can see that if I switch on, I have the shadows from the sun, but it's following the direction of the HDRI, which is really good to have. Okay, so in this image, which we'll do a little bit of post render to get this image, but this is the setting of the HDRI for now. Okay. The next step, or the next thing that we'll be having a look at, is that we will have a look at how to add some materials. So to add materials, you have to go to the assets. And once you're in assets, you basically have three types. You have a model, which is basically trees and cars and people that you can add into your scene. And then you have material, that is basically texture. So ceramic, fabric, glass, plastic, marble, paint, different textures that you can add. And then you have particles. I hope to create a tutorial as time goes on with regards to particles when it comes to animation and all that. So for now, let's look at materials. We have glass, so let's add some glass, but I normally use a basic glass, which is under other. So if I go there, I can just click on basic glass. You just click and then you just apply. You just click to apply. So there you go. I've got my glass in there. Okay, it's very simple. Let's go to wood. Because we're trying to almost imitate the image that I showed earlier on, I have to pick exactly the material that was used when I was creating that tutorial. So in that tutorial, this was the wood that was used. So I'm just going to apply that there. Okay. And so once the wood is applied or a material is applied, you can click on the material picker to click on the material, and then it gives you the properties. Okay. So now you've got the properties of the material, and we can change the scale by going to UV, and there we can change the scale of the material. Okay. And also we can change the size, the size of it as well. Okay, we can change the color. If we want the wood to have almost like be a bit darker, we can do that. You can lighten it if you want as well. Okay, so that is basically very simple how to kind of add a material. So let's go ahead and add other materials. So let's go to assets, let's go to tiles, let's add this concrete floor tile here. So you also notice that when I hover the mouse on any of the materials, some of them have the download button and some of them has the tick button. If it has the download button, it means that you've never used this material and you have to download it online. So if you click on it, it downloads, okay? And then it becomes part of your library. The next time you want to use, you don't have to do that again. Okay, so let's edit this as well. and I am going to use the offset to almost bring this to bring the line to almost have that edge there, the tile edge almost there, just to create a kind of a realistic look. Okay, so something like this. Okay, you could also work on it the way you kind of see fit also. I'm going to darken it a little bit. And then another way to create a material is by, you don't go to assets, so we are not in assets, but I'll click on the material picker and I'll click on maybe if it's grass or wood. This time around I'm going to click on the water. I just click on it, and then if I go to maps, this is actually how to create a custom material. Then you can go to the material template and choose what type of material do you want to create. So now we want to create water, so I'll just click on water, and there I have my water. Okay, and then once I have my water, I can also work with the specular. Basically also gives you the reflections, allow the water to have like a reflection in. Okay, and then if I go to depth, the higher the depth, the darker it is, so you can't see through. Okay, so that will apply maybe when you're creating like a lake or a dam, then you can use that. But here, this is a swimming pool, we want it to be clear, so let's reduce that to around 0.12, which is quite okay. Okay, so something like this. Okay, great. So I'm going to just go through quickly to apply the materials. So I'm going to apply wooden floor here, apply that there. Real-time retracing, beautiful. You know, I'm going to go to tiles. I'll pick a tile for the inside. I'll click on it, change the scale as well. And you can decide if you don't want to stretch. If it's stretching, it means that the X and the Y axis is the same. If you unlock the stretch, you can decide to put a figure here, and then you can decide to change this figure. So it's different, you know. So it's up to you how you want your tile or your object to look like. Okay. Okay, let's play with it a bit. Kind of darken it a little bit like that. Okay, there you go. Let's add some wood to this shading device that we have here. Okay, so we go to wood. There, let's pick wood. There. Let's go to the properties of it, change it, and then I can also copy this material. So if the material is selected, if I click on the copy material, I can copy it and I can basically apply it to another material, which makes it quite simple and easy. I can select the glass as well, copy it, apply it there, and there you go. I've got my material. Okay, so let's add our materials quickly. Let's add a wall paint, so white to this one. Let's darken it a little bit. Okay, Let's go back to tiles and let's look for, we're looking for this stone. Okay, so I think it's in the next tab. There you go. Apply it to it. Go to the properties. Go to the properties. Change it. And there you go. Just darken it a little bit. Let's go to metal and add our black kind of metal to our steel there. There you go. Okay. Let's again go to the tile, and this time around, actually paint. We're going to add this texture to the wall. Okay, and again change the UV. Okay, so we have there, and then the scale, I think was 0.2 to something like that. You can see the detail really coming nicely. So kind of darken that a little bit. Okay, so you can see our materials is coming along quite nicely. Let's add some material also on this wall here. There you go. There, got that there. And then our cabinet, our kitchen cabinet. Let's add some wood material to it. It's really not detailed. It's just for just this purpose, and also in the view, it's not really visible from far. So I didn't think there was a need to kind of detail it that much for now. Okay, so the next thing that we'll have a look is about vegetation. Okay, so with regards to our vegetation, before we do the vegetation, let's add some tiles in the pool. So let's go to assets, let's go to tile, and let's add some, we can add some mosaic tiles, or actually there is some quite nice tiles there, ceramic tiles. So let's add some tiles there. Increase the size of it. Okay, let's go. There, we're having our pool is coming to life. Okay, so in terms of the vegetation, we move from material to model. But before that, actually, normally what I do is that I add a texture to my grass first. So I go to ground, and then I add a texture like this here. Before then, I add the model materials. So I'll go to grass, and then I'll just select one of them. You see, I can just click and add. When I click on the paint button, I can reduce the size of the grass as I bring it in to paint, okay? Or if I increase the radius to full, then it becomes the scattering tool. So if I click, then it scatters, which is quite nice. You see, it begins to scatter. You don't spend too much time to kind of add individual grass. Okay, so and then you can also mix. So like I can select 2 or 3 to add at the same time, but also I can select this one, and then the scatter tool is still on. I can basically just click to add again. So I'm adding different grass to what I have, which kind of also give a nice feel. It depends on what you're trying to create. Okay, so let me uncheck that. Let's go to our trees and let's add some trees in our scene. Let's see if we can add exactly the trees that we have in that image. But the aim is to understand the program and how it's used. So it doesn't really matter if we are not able to get exactly the trees that were used. Okay, so let's add, for example, that there. You can actually get D5 render for free to do most things that the pro version can give you. So try it out. Go to D5 render website and download the free version and try it out. Try it out. Try it out. Try it out. I think it's quite nice. I'm going to put this tree here just to create some shadow. It will not be, you will not see it that much in the shot. Archviz is all about, it's almost like photography. You are crafting the scene. You need to think about what you want to show, what you want your viewer to have a look. So if you need to kind of use shadows and lights to create something, you can also do that. I know that the way I place that tree on the deck would in real life will not look like that, but because you won't see the tree the way it's positioned there, it doesn't really matter, because what I need is the shadow. Okay, so quickly we're going to add our tree around. Increase the size of the tree because I want to have it around the building. And if you place an object, like if you place this tree, you can also increase it. You see, you can increase it as well, once it's already positioned. Okay, so I am going to add some trees here. This is all about just, it's almost crafting the scene. That's all it is. So you might do it differently, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's go to our camera view and let's have a look. So you see what we begin to see. Perhaps we can add another big tree here. Let's find some tree. Let's reduce the size a bit. Okay, I'm going to copy this material and I'm going to add it here. Okay, let's go back. There we go. Okay, so we've created we've added our vegetation. You can add any other kind of vegetation, or you can craft the scene the way you want to craft it as well. There you go. And depending on how close you want to come to your camera, how close your camera is to a building or to an object, also depends on the detail that you add there. Okay, so sometimes it's not necessary to overpopulate a scene with so much vegetation and so much objects. It's all about crafting the scene. Let's add one more tree. Let's reduce the size of it. Okay, it's not really helping us. Let's take it out. Okay. Because we also want to see the building. Okay, so we'll end our tutorial here. We've been able to bring our model from Revit into D5. We've added our textures. We've added vegetation. Okay. So now that we've added our materials, we've added our exterior lighting and vegetation, we will end our tutorial for today. In our next lesson, we will have a look at how to add artificial lighting and how to set up our final render, adjust the material a little bit, as well as post-render. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this page. See you next time. Bye.